Well, I've been introduced by a lot of people a lot of times, Anise, but this is a first. I've never been introduced by anyone who actually announced they were running against me at the same introduction. 2028, I will be running Anise and I will be the opponent. I'm not going anywhere. Here's my... I want you to know, Anise, there was a time that I wanted to be governor also. That was before I had the job. It is a hard job, so be careful what you wish for, you may get it. It is hard. Just look at me, Anise. Look at the gray hair. Look at the bags under my eyes. I'm 24 years old, Anise. Here's my political advice. Keep the smile, lose the dancing. Let's give another round of applause to Anise. And to all the students who have gotten up, aren't they really great? Let's give them a round of applause. You know, a governor works on many things. He works on transportation, economic development, trying to get the budget done, trying to pass laws, dealing with the New York State legislature, which is always a fun way to pass an afternoon. But surely the single most important function is education, because it is about our future. It is about our children. All the rhetoric is actually true, and you see that and you feel that tonight. And I'm gratified by this Education Leadership Award, but it really goes to New York City Outward Bound, that does truly extraordinary work in the field of education. And let's recognize tonight the President, Richard Stopel, the Chair, Carl Weisbrod, the Chair Emeritus, Arthur Sulzberger. Let's give them a round of applause for really great work. You know, you get the feel just in the first few minutes of tonight's program how outstanding this organization is and what a sense of accomplishment. 93% of the graduates go on to college. Just think about that. And it's even more amazing when you realize that 69% of the students are eligible for free lunch, which means they come from families with depressed income. So they are doing what everyone talks about doing. That is the challenge. How do you make sure this education system is working for everyone everywhere? How do you make sure a zip code does not determine one's destiny? And New York City Outward Bound is doing that. They started with a really different approach when they started back in 1987. And they said the fundamental model of education doesn't work anymore. And it's not easy to stand up and say the fundamental model is broken. But they said the model that says 40 kids in a classroom, in a desk, looking at a single teacher in the front of a room in a brick building in the middle of a depressed community is not really educational development. Look at the second word, development. You're talking about developing a personality, developing a character, developing a person, and leadership skills. And you can't do that in that model. And they had a new model, expeditionary learning, which no one had heard about. And if they heard about it, they couldn't pronounce it. And they said, we have a different way. And their way was right. And it was a more holistic, more comprehensive approach. And it approached the entire being and the entire personality. And they have had truly extraordinary success with it. New York State is a little bit behind the curve and a little bit slower. It's probably one of the greatest needs we have in this state. This state spends more money on education, more money per pupil than any state in the nation. Number 1 in spending, number 35 in performance. Think about that. Less than 35% of our high school graduates are college ready. So we have a long way to go. And we have to have the same intelligence that New York City Outward Bound had in 1987. We have to have the courage to stand up and say, this model doesn't work. This model was built at a different time for a different society with a different need. And we have to have the courage to say, we're going to change that model. Our kids are in school from 9 to 3, 180 days per year. They have the summer off. Why? Because we did the calendar when we were an agrarian society. And we needed the children home to tend the fields. And we needed the children home in the summers to work in the fields. We're not doing a lot of farming anymore in New York. It's important upstate in some parts, and we can adjust the calendar. But it's time we take a different look. We know that the young minds are the open minds and the fertile minds. We still don't have universal pre-K in this state. And it's a shame to waste that time and waste those impressionable years. So taking a truly different approach. We know that schools in poor communities are dealing with a different issue and a more complex issue than schools in richer communities. But we still call them the same, and we compare them the same. No, a school in a poor community needs a lot more services, needs a lot more support. It's doing a different job. It's trying to make up for lack of a two-parent household in many cases. It's doing social work. It's doing nutritional work. They are different. And we started this year recognizing that difference. We call them community schools, and we treat them differently. We have to honor the teaching profession, and we have to treat teachers like the professionals they are, pay them what they're worth, invest in continuing education and development for teachers, and we're doing that this year. And the most important and basic tool was something we called a teacher evaluation, which we had been talking about for years in this state, which is what? Evaluate the teachers, evaluate the classroom, find out what teachers are doing well, find out what teachers aren't doing well, reward the ones that are doing well, use them to mentor the others, get the teachers who aren't performing the kind of assistance they need to make a difference. Find out what schools are doing well, and model what the high-performing schools are doing. It's basic, it's 101. Find out what works, measure performance. Talking about it for years. We never implemented it. Finally, if I'm the proudest thing of my 2 years of being governor, last week we implemented a teacher evaluation system in every school in this state and in this city. So now we can have a basic tool that measures performance, and we know what to build on. We need to do more. We have to bring it to scale. We have to keep doing the pushing from the inside that I do, make the bureaucracy work, because it's all about getting it done and changing that bureaucracy and changing the institution, and change is hard, especially when you're talking about this kind of entrenched bureaucracy. And we have to keep doing what we're doing from the outside. New York City Outward Bound with that credibility and that creativity and that energy. And most of all, we need to do what each and every one of you is doing tonight. You care enough to make a difference. You care enough to show up and give of yourself to make this city a better city, to make this community a better community. And that is the most powerful asset of all. Thank you for having me. God bless you and good night.